Hello my cabbages and welcome back to another mapping video. Let me hear it. I did a lot since last time, or improved a lot. First, I added provinces for literally all countries except the light blue country and the European countries. So we got quite a bit of provinces. Some of them are regular shapes, some of them are a little bit less regular, but every single country except literally 3 of them have provinces, so yeah, even the Mexican ones, even though some of these provinces are really small and most of the country just literally just have 1 province. So yeah, that's happened. And I also updated trade routes. So I made them slightly browner because they're kind of blending in with the provinces before, so now they stick out a bit more. So we still had the original trade routes, this trade route's going strong, but now we have this transcontinental trade route is really strong. We allowed to trade to the green team and like in between them. And kind of what's happened after wars sometimes, like you kind of saw with the Roaring 20s, there's a lot of peace and everybody works together. So basically, economy in these countries are going pretty well and kinda booming. So that's good for them. And meanwhile, while that's happening, let's do our Europe check because we kind of didn't talk much about Europe last episode. So they do the thing. They do the thing. Julie, do the thing. If you know, you know. But they explore quite a bit here. Actually, really big. Yeah, I've been trying to follow the course of the Nile for the blue team, but honestly, I don't know. I wish they had rivers on here, but we're just gonna pretend for the blue team that that is the Nile. They might have moved the Nile. I don't know. They moved the Nile, guys. So they keep a thin stretch of like land that's very rich and fertile because obviously this is where the Nile River is. So this is looking really weird. But so because they're just following the Nile River, they're looking pretty skinny. Thinny, skinny countries. Okay, maybe it'll look a bit better. But yeah, I would say blue country and red country are relatively uneven terms. But, well, the blue team, they're not as seafaring, but they kind of have a personal vendetta against the red team because, you know, they used to be a colony of the red team. So they decide to launch a surprise attack. And of course, because it's a surprise, they were not expecting this. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because they're completely uncontested for Cyprus. And they didn't even have much of a military because they didn't really fight much. So they basically, the blue team sends another naval landing in the southern portion. You know, that's what's closest. And, like, the red team's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And kind of tries to, you know, get here and, like, use... Yeah, the military tactics are insane. I also realized I didn't put capitals here, but, like, theirs would be, like, here, and, you know, theirs would be, like, here, so Cairo and, like, you know. Yeah, we got Cyprus. It's coming even more accurate because, you know, Turkey actually owns part of Cyprus. Kinda, not really officially, but unofficially owns part of Cyprus, the real world, so... Yeah, Cyprus being owned by a foreign power? Crazy. So, it kind of happens, but they send another reinforcement of troops, and after they see this, they're like, okay, we'll surrender. So, they basically surrender and keep the peace. No real peace treaties this time, because, you know, they're still kind of primitive, if that makes sense. Oh, primitive nations, so they don't really peace treaty, they just kind of agree on keeping those same borders. But that's our Europe check. So basically, every country here is like, hey, this is stupid, splitting up every time, like, our ruler dies, so they decide to stop doing that. So, 2 things happen. In this dark blue country, there's, like, 2 second cousins. Or wait, no, they already had that abolished. Let's just say in this yellow country where they did not abolish it yet, there was two siblings, and they were like, the younger sibling kind of got shafted, and so did actually multiple younger siblings across these areas. They're like, okay, let's form a nation that doesn't abide by these silly rules. So they go up north through here, kind of explore the coastal region, you know, up deep into Mexico, and they decide to just, so yeah, her pilgrimage, and they won't stop going until they find somewhere that they consider suitable, and they're kind of like, oh, it's kind of hot, not the good kind of hot. So eventually they find the base of the Mississippi River, which you also can't see in this map, but, you know, Louisiana. So they're like, okay, I think we should settle down here, this very swampy part of Louisiana. They're gonna be, what if we make them just like a really light gray or something? Yeah, they're gonna be very, maybe even too light of a gray. But yeah, very light gray country over here. Oh no, that's fine. Even exploring the island. So yeah, this country will split up upon leader's death, because that's kind of the whole thing that they had here. So already going pretty well, because quite a few people like the old ways. They're traditionalists, basically. They're conservatives, yeah. Which a lot of conservatives do live in Louisiana in real life, so pretty accurate, I guess. But there are quite a few people going here, thinking about that. And also, let's just hide these for now. The trade routes, nope, that's, yeah. Trade routes, you see these trade routes, they kind of want to connect, but they couldn't. But, and also if you look at alliances, these alliances, those dashes and the small squares are kind of friends with each other. And the green country is now part of the small squares, so they decide to try and connect up, you know, connect back the trade route so they can, so they can, you know, use the trade route. And so these nations can be connected, because before they kind of weren't. So they connect through here. And also to secure this trade route from, you know, the gray team, which kind of been threatening before, they basically split it in half and both kind of equally try to defend the trade route. And because the gray team's kind of lost before against the squares, and the dashes are kind of working together, the gray team isn't going to mess with them, even though the gray team probably could beat one of them if it tried hard enough and actually got act together. But yeah, so we got a new trade route already, so yeah, it's looking good for them, and is helping their economy. Speaking of helping their economy, this country has been booming, really, because, well, they're getting like some trade from here, but because of all this trade back and forth, they're like expanding like exponentially, basically. So they're becoming like a new kind of, you know, definitely a new stop on the way to Mexico. So with this newfound wealth, they are, no, that's the sea. They are able to fill in the Panama area. So, actually a big area. This should probably happen a bit slower, but I'm gonna exaggerate it because it's easy to do it in one go. So now they completely take over this trade route. This is going good for them. A lot of economics, and they basically invent taxing, which is like kind of controversial because, like, or not tax. I mean, other countries probably have taxing, but like taxing of passerby, like anybody who passes by this country gets taxed. It's not like super high right now. Keyword now. So some people are like, but they're like, okay, it's not that much. And like with how you know, beneficial it is trading with Mexico, you know, it can't hurt that bad. So right now people aren't super mad about it, but you will see eventually. Also, the dark brown country, also wrong color. Also doing well from the trade route, expands and is allowed to connect up here to this leak, and So that's going well for them. And also this very bright yellow country. So the trade route over here kind of like forks, and they only get one fork of it because the other route kind of goes below the lake where they did originally try to settle, but find out it didn't work because there was lightning. But now that they have better technology, like some people try to seafarer, they take over this area that was once free. These are like very mountain-ridden area, so it's like hard to see why I use this color yellow. Mountain-ridden area, but they also decide to like explore more to see what's out here past these mountains. That looks a bit ugly. There we go. So have some benefit more from this trade route. So the yellow country also doing pretty well, and also partially expanding down here into the trade route also. So yeah, big dub for the yellow team. And then we also have the green team, which also happens to be doing well. Whoa. Themes here? Crazy. They expand past this bay, and they actually go over here and touch the roast. Not in a weird way, not weird type of touching, just, you know, country touching. No islands here. Yeah, so now this island, or this country that was originally kind of based on settlement is actually connected more to the mainland, so kind of forming a chain. So this is better for this even strengthened the trade route more because it's like more cities and areas to stop in to resupply. So it's becoming like less treacherous, like more built up, not just an Oregon Trail, more of a Silk Road kind of idea. So yeah, it's going good for them. And also, speaking of trade routes, it's kind of happened before is the white gray team over here felt like kind of getting shafted, lay shaft. So they expand the trade route from the dark red team, using the help of the dark red team into the gray team, because, you know, this was a rebellion, but they're now on decent terms with them. So got the trade route extending here, so you can go all the way from the light gray team all the way into like the yellow team now. So like, just look at that distance. That is way more developed. So yeah, the light blue team semi doing well, but they're also like semi struggling because, you know, they were in a war and kind of lost because they were treated as a losing nation. So got the weird buffer green team, green team, dream team, cream team. No, not creamy. Nothing's creamy here. But so all is going well over here. All is going well, but still not good over here. The gray team decides to finish off the green team right here. Oh, I did not change the color from the last one. No, ew. They finish off the green team and take their capital city, so that's going well for them. Yeah, for provinces, yeah. So I guess they also get a new province. They have like a bunch of small provinces here. They annex the entire province because they're literally only one province. So with that kind of concluding, a new ruler gets on because the old one dies, and this new ruler thinks the old one was a wimp. So they go and fight the pink team, and they, well, eventually, you know, get the momentum advantage because they're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, because they weren't expecting to be attacked. But then they're like, okay, peace deal, because they're kind of being trolled, and they know that if they just attack now, like do a bunch of attacking now, before the rest of the squares help them, then they can gain as much land as possible. So the pink team kind of stupidly accepts the peace deal, because this pink team ruler, I'm guessing this pink team ruler is kind of like, let's just say they're like 14 or something. So like, even though they're the eldest child, they're still only 14. So they kind of don't make good decisions, even though they could have won. So even though they kind of had a thing here, they decide, yeah, so that's their capital area, so they don't want them at their capital, so not delete. So they kick. Oh my god. They kick them out of this area, but then allow them to take over this province. So this is border gore at its finest. So yeah, definitely some ugly border gore. So they kind of take over. They take over half the country because they took over a province, even though they didn't need to do that. And the trade route that they built, they tried to make sure was perfectly fine, now has to pass through the gray team. And right now the gray team's like, but instead of this ruler being smart, they were also planning to take the trade route. I just came up with that now. So, but smart, unintentionally smart, I guess. They decide to. They don't cut off the trade route because they know it's still useful to them because these are growing countries, and they basically slowly add taxes right now because they don't want to. They add like even probably steeper taxes than this country, not this country over here. So people are kind of not liking that, but they're not liking that enough to go to war yet. Meanwhile, back up here in the Louisiana country, they explore more in your lore world, and they kind of take over this area, this coastal area. Not going down the Mississippi quite yet, but speaking of, of course their policies, I'm gonna add a capital later. They divide. Wow, who would have thought that was gonna come? What? They have a division policy? So they're gonna be a green team. I feel like I've already used this color green multiple times, but who knows? Yep. And then they will take over the younger child of the two, because I'm just gonna say it's two children for now. Takes over this area, and the older child takes over this area, so yeah, I'm not looking too bad for them right now. So yeah, that's their check. And then after that check, we can also go and do a Euro check. Euro check? Nah. Because the blue team, you know what happened before with the red team? They kind of rebelled because they're too far away. Well, now this new colony part of the blue team is too far away from them, which vice versa. I'm gonna have a new purple team. Wow, first three countries being, and the purple team's kind of like away, and the red team's like, oh yes, we can get them back because the purple team's gonna be less strong. The purple team's less strong, isn't it? So they jump them and sever the country, and they're like, ha 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 ha. And the purple team's like, Nani? And just goes full on ham and just blitzkrieg's through like this part of the country, and it literally takes over the capital, and they're like, oh my god, they peace deal. So they signed the first peace deal of this European world. I still need to make capitals, but capital would be right there, so they get to keep the capital, but in return the purple team gets this colony, which they probably couldn't manage anyways, but they still get it. So the red team just got screwed. Yeah. Yeah, damn. Okay, so they underestimated the purple team a lot. Nani? Just went the full on nani. Damn, that was crazy, bro. I'm saying it's crazy like I didn't pre-plan that. I mean, vaguely pre-planned it. Yeah, so, not going too well in Europe. Lots of conflict. But remember how we were talking about how the gray team had the trade route? They're even more taxing, which is kind of not good for them. The green team's going to use some of their resources to expand, but with the taxes, so is, the other teams with the taxes, it's not going as well because not as many people are traveling the trade route because, well, taxes aren't helping them as much. So they're slowly becoming weaker. What? Plans making them weak? Nah, crazy. This new ruler's actually decently smart? Nah, crazy. So, these rulers kind of expand a bit more, and the mint team, after they got the new, oh yeah, right, they have a new the bad guy, not bad guy, but just not a good person, not okay, they're just not a good ruler, expands a bunch, so that's not gonna be bad in their future. Then also the Rose team decides to expand because, you know, you gotta have a little bit of expansion. It's like a spice of life. You know what the famous person said? Expansion is the spice of life. Probably, you know. Everybody knows that one. But yeah, no. They got a bunch of expansion. Why is that looking like blocky, bro? It's not Minecraft. Minecraft WICSO. But then the brown team also decides to expand. If you don't remember, the dark brown team and the mildly dark brown team were kind of built off not expanding. But they kind of don't expand, even though the dark brown team hasn't been following as much. This team, after, even though they're getting a lot of economy, this teams have already kind of expanded recently. So, you know, still not doing that. Oh, I put that on the wrong layer. Oh. Of course I did. Let's just pretend that one doesn't exist right now. Sure, there you go. Get some more land. So, yeah. We can add that one back later. But yeah. Add that one back later. Countries here also decide to expand a decent amount because they're doing well after the new influx of trade, and, you know, everybody's happy because, you know, the orange team has new leadership. Even though the orange team's still not doing too well, because although they didn't have as much sanctions, they still just lost a war, and still partially sanctioned, but not as much as before, because, you know, when you sanction them too much, then they get nationalist ideas, and that did not work out the first time. So learn your lesson from I mean, not Treaty of Versailles, but, you know, in real life it would be, even though this is like way too early for that type of stuff, like way too early, but I find it interessante. So it's not in the World War, it's too small. I mean, technically Mexico and South America are different continents, but technically it's a world. But then this new weird cream team over here, which is the exact same color as there's a lot of using colors because you kind of just have to. Expands, and so does this team over here. Wow, so interesting. Expansion. I'm trying to make this interesting by saying countries are expanding. I wish I could make this more interesting. Force you to watch me. It is why my channel needs to be doing better. I should cut more out. But a lot of these countries expand. The light blue country and the lavender country can't really because they kind of get crippled. And the dark red team got partially crippled, but not as much as the other countries. So that's basically it for expansion of the day. Red team's still so small. It's good for the red team. But back in the gray team, Breaking completely cuts off their supplies. And after basically a month of this, they're like, why? And like, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Because this is a great move. And they quickly blitz through, or, you know, actually, how about, oh, this is perfect. They basically don't, tax the eastern border, but they tax the western border. And they make a trade route. We should make it on the right layer this time. Basically make a trade route that goes down to down to their capital. So let's just say they did this earlier. So basically they have a bunch of taxation here, so they were actually benefiting from a lot of this because merchants came here like, what, taxes? And they basically just went, might as well trade another city. So yeah, but the dark gray team basically blitzes through this country because they've been doing well economically, and they're like, whoa, alliance. And they would tell the Square Alliance to do something because they're kind of like half allied and they both don't like them. which the Swear Lines usually would comply, but they can't tell them because they're basically cut off. They're not really... The best way they could get is, they're not really on the best terms with the Mint team. The Mint team's kind of egotistical. Go through here, and then there. So, and they tried to do that, but they're not that fast. Trying to maybe break through here with the green team and tell them, but the gray team's like, oh no. And also, takes over half the country and continues to threaten the red team and the cream team. Yellow team's the only team not being threatened, but also they're not doing great monetarily because they're sending a lot of soldiers through here to help, even though they're not actually visually, gaining any land because they're in alliance after all. But yeah, not going well, and they completely surrender. So, let's see this peace deal. Okay, these are the new, very gory peace deal. So yeah, they didn't maybe take the lands you expect. You might have thought maybe they'll take the capital, but no. Because basically what they're doing is making it so they can't talk and contact the outside world, other than really long naval routes, and maybe naval, except the green team, which kinda can. But the green team, it's just not going well for them. So they have the weird, I'll say that thin strip of land is way too weird, bruh. So, yeah, not looking good for them. Even the yellow team got taken from, even though technically they didn't find the wall, they just supported. And yes, this is a long, lengthy kind of area, so you might think, oh, it's not stable. I say it's not stable. Not unstable. But they know they could still win the war, even if that land is really skinny. Because they have power. Yeah. And the Square Lines eventually gets that very long routed message. It's like, what the? And Great Team's kind of expecting them to be mad. So they've been quietly putting troops along this border, and where you might be wondering, where are they getting all those troops? Well, mainly mercenaries. I mean, like I said before, the brown team mercenary market, which happened with the war before, is pretty strong, and the gray team has been getting a lot of land from plundering other nations' economies. So they put up a bunch of mercenary troops along the border, and when they go, attack, avenge our fallen brethren, they're immediately met by resistance, because they're like, oh, they were planning for this. We got literally just jebaited. They literally just got jebaited. And they got full-on steamrolled because they were not expecting to meet resistance. They're mainly trying to blitzkrieg their way through the country while they're distracted on the other side. But they're like, oh no. And they're immediately like, we made a mistake. Surrender! Damn, so heroic, guys. Attack, surrender. So they basically surrender and okay, you can just keep those lands, take no more. Which they actually agree on. Except, yeah, they actually agree on that because they don't want to be too pushy, because they still don't want the rest of the world to come after them. But the gray team, these four teams are kind of looking at them with kind of discontent, scary. So yes, they are the strongest nation in Mexico right now. Technically, they're not the biggest. I think, yeah, the dark brown team's definitely bigger, but they're definitely the strongest. They are scary. You should be looking out for them. And their ruler is smart, which is rare to come across these days. Oh, these dumb kids, nah. But, because this is early history, IQ levels were definitely not that high. So they do a surprisingly good job at governing the country and winning. So, and not also making the mistake of overexpansion like what happened to the orange team. Eventually they probably will collapse. Who's gonna say that? Not me. What? I just said that? Oh, crazy. But these teams are getting even better from the trade route, like I was talking about. This goated trade route. So they're just keep on expanding. Bigger. Don't say big with an N. Why am I thinking about that? Who knows? And they kind of, even the countries over here eventually hear about this because, they have good connections. They're like, whoa, this gray team, like, they put it in the news. It's kind of like, this gray team is kind of whack, bruh. Like, honestly, I think the gray team would be relative in power to, it's hard to tell because a lot of these countries don't have as much power as you might think. You might think the blue team's strong country, but they got blitzkrieged by the orange team, and they're kind of doing better now because they realize, their military is incredibly out of date. But I would say they're actually similar strength to the purple team, I would say, because after this, like, I would say that maybe these countries are like 1.5 times stronger than these countries, so like more advanced. But now they kind of equal that out, and the gray team's looking decently chonky, and most of that land is very lived in. So yeah, kind of looking scary. We have they're basically becoming the orange team of Mexico at this rate. But yeah, let's do. Yeah, here's the whole world if you want to see it. So. But one more Europe check. Purple team still going strong, deciding to expand even more with their, being a strong country. The red team is still heavily embarrassed by this, and what not to make it worse, because their colony over here decides to rebel. Good luck? Nah, bad luck, bro. Because they're kind of like, this red team's incompetent. Let's go do our own thing. And they do. And the red team is so pissed. But the red team tries to do something because technically they are stronger than their colony. But they're like, and it doesn't really work that well. And then, like, the brown team even starts winning, and they're planning on retreating, but add insult to injury, the purple team's like, if you don't just stop now, then we're gonna invade you and make it even worse. And they're like, no, and they're like, peace treaty, and brown team is like, actually they found out about this happening with the purple team, so they're like, okay, they don't want to be too unreasonable, but they're like, we'll take that, and you can keep that. So most of the developed cities were actually wrong there, so that's pretty good for them, but they weren't even that developed. So, yeah, red team is cooked, really cooked. It's not going well for the red team at all. Poor red team. Blue team's still pretty stable, though, for right now, but yeah, that's all, and goodbye, my cabbages.